2,
And 1.
All right, here we are, day 3, World of Concrete. And who do we have now? We got David Thieme of Bill Spitzer and Associates.
Time.
Yeah, it's been eventful. A lot of people this year. Booth's been packed all day, or all week. That's good. But David, thank you. We're going to talk about you and Bill Spitzer. So help me out. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so specific to the petrol company, there's a automated lubrication reliability portion, and then there's also the civil, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. In that, my primary focus and jump was through the mega project space. So with all the expansions going on the Gulf Coast of America, we've been pretty successful on locking in mega projects, and that's really been my space. Second to that, as to date, my focus has shifted more to the large mega project, EPC, execution field part of our business.
Right.
And as I still help a bit on the lubrication side.
Awesome. So, David, you and I have known each other for quite a few years, so I kind of feel like it's just two friends having that conversation. But
Yep.
one of the things too, I know recently you guys kind of change your path a little bit, not only on the mega projects, but tell people about what you're doing on your spare time.
Yeah, so I volunteer a lot PI 686 committee, ACI 351, 5 and 4. And we're joining right now the PIP 3600. So yeah, I like to volunteer my time and try to help the industry look forward. Get rid of some of this antiquated industry standard, build large.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you mean that some of that
technology? So energy changes I mentioned. We're really hope I'm not annoying to people when I do this, but I really try to drive home the fact of, field execution is the most critical part. We need to get data from the field, not from a C-suite or an engineering perspective. We need to see what's happening in the field and adjust.
Well, I think, every part of it is critical, right? With the C-suites guys are getting funding, working with equity, figuring out how we fund all these projects. Engineering side, we look at the theoretical side, but it's really important. I know for us here at FasTrac, for us to get the feedback from the field, right? We want to hear exactly what the contractor says. What are you seeing? What are you not seeing? What works? What's not working? How can we work through that? And if you would kind of walk us through, there was a really big project that you and I worked on, and I kind of chuckle now, but we've heard it all the time, right? And it's like not really sure, about maybe some of the FasTrac stuff, but you guys, Bill Spitzer, you've been using some FasTrac for a couple of years now, and we've had a really good partnership. But walk us through some of that last mega project whenever someone tells you, I don't think you can do that. There's no way you can do it.
Yeah, that's been a touch and go kind of subject in the industry. We're looking at large pieces of rotating equipment, centrifugal compressors, gas turbines being installed, especially in the LNG world. And this takes not necessarily large quantities of material, but they're in very precarious areas. Like we're having to, get 45, 60 feet up in the air on centrifugal machines. Some gas turbines are pretty high up in the air, and it's okay. Well, can we get these materials up there? And one of the beauties about the 815 product with FasTrac is, we haven't really met a height that we haven't been able to pump it. So, very recently in Texas, we're doing a petrochemical facility, and we had to pump about 65 feet vertically, and then a complete hose length once we hit the deck was about 125 feet roughly.
Wow.
And this was a large, centrifugal train. So, we went through the process within Spitzer. We rent the pump package to the contractor. We give them the SME support on the front end to come up with the design. And then when it comes to execution time, we're in the field getting dirty with them, and we're making sure the pipes ran white. My tech service guys that run and operate the pump, they're out there doing that for the contractor. We're using their skilled labor to get the grout where it needs to go. And it was very impressive. It was a very eye-opening moment. Because when you get elevated like that, you have to build green tag scaffolding and things of that nature, which is a huge cost burden on the project. If we can just pump the material vertically, not use engineered scaffolding or anything like that, just get it up there, then we can save a lot of time and money for them. So it's a big added value to the customer. For sure.
Well, yeah, and I think I remember showing up on site and seeing that hard piping. And then the first thing from my mind, from an engineering background, is drag coefficient, right?
Yep.
And so, but man, you guys executed it beautiful, and it was great. But so a little bit more, I guess, help me out on too, to people understand. So when we talk about up front side, being involved, you got tech service guys getting dirty with them, but I think it's another thing that I've seen with Spitzer. You guys seem to follow up after the fact, right?
That's right. Yeah. So to kind of put that into a nutshell, I mean, we're like a pre, during, and post kind of company, right? So the pre part of it, we'll work with the engineering, the construction company. We'll look at what they're installing. We'll normally have to come in and adjust the drawings to show expansion joint layouts, things of that nature. So we work it from that end on the very front. And then once we get into the field, we go to the execution phase. We're on site with the contractor. We're always going to have representation on site. We don't charge for that. We just want to be there to make sure that everything's executed properly. So we witness in the mixing, the pouring, the placement. We assist in all that. Sign-offs, mechanical sign-off, civil sign-off sheets. And then the most important is going to be the post-route walk-downs. And this is where people kind of walk away. They, in our industry, as you know, the people come in, sell the job, sell the material, and then they don't want to go back out there, right? For us is we need to do the follow-up. So we're on the post-route activities is what we call it. We look for things like void mapping, void injection. We like looking at the mechanical portion of it, making sure the skid didn't move, the machine surfaces are still coplanar and level. And then we go through the torquing value. We want to make sure nothing's pulling down. We want to make sure we don't have any vertical cracking or anything of that nature. And if we do, we have these solutions to keep moving the project along versus having to go back and rely on an industry standard to say what we need to do. We can take some deviation, move I was using analogy of moving the football down the field, right? We want to move that football down the field and get it signed off. So.
Yeah, and that's been really, we get some feedback here and there from a lot of end users and talk through, and I'll never forget, I got an email that says, it doesn't matter, all I know is I want David Thieme or someone from Bill Spitzer. You guys can figure out the rest of it. I just know that I need the Bill Spitzer team involved. And so I think that speaks volume when you see emails come from contractors and end users and things of that nature. But what do you see from your role inside the company in regards of evolving or evolution? Is there a certain thing that you think that you can kind of move the needle a little further?
Yeah, so I mean, Scott Bullantini, who's one of my counterparts, he brought this up in his interview yesterday. I mean, our company has been scaling. We're growing. We're doubling in size. We're across the nation now, and it really revolves around that service after the sale. I mean, we love FasTrac products. We love all of the manufacturers we represent, but we're kind of taking the material component out of it and saying, okay, like, what can we do to service you and make sure that we're using the right material for the right applications, right? And when you take a customer first approach, which is our motto, then you really get to learn a lot more about these entities and build these long-term relationships and help them execute the way that they want it executed. The problem as we see with these industries, within our industry, is primarily that the flow down from engineering to constructability is just, it gets murky at best, right?
Sure.
So we want to help everybody navigate that and make sure that we're taking the proper deviations, not for cost savings necessarily, which we can work with you on that, but it's more to get the job done quick. These facilities are not making money unless they're in operation. Longer it takes to build them, longer commissioning takes, the less money everybody makes, right? So we want to make sure that we assist in our little piece of the market. Sure.
No, I mean, it's very, very critical. Schedule, the old saying, like, time is money.
That's right.
Right, and it truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going back to like the analogies that was given to me many years ago. You can have the three circles between quality, price, and delivery, but you can only have two of the three, right?
That's
so
right.
Really trying to make sure you keep that in mind and focus. And as you mentioned earlier, about following up on the post-grout side. And I kind of chuckle because there's so many people out there and like, hey, we got a PO in-house, we're moving product. And it's like, that's great. Now the job started.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to
do now?
You tilled the land and planted the seeds for however long it took you to tender it, right? But now you're able to actually do some work.
Yeah,
so.
and even on the post-grout, just to add a little bit more context, I mean, I'm not just talking about, new projects and new installations. We have a long history with quite a few large oil and gas end users for the past 38, 40 years. And we actually go in every 5 years because the other side of our business, compressor lubrication panels and stuff. We actually go and assess foundations. So we'll start mapping cracks in foundations and check them every 5 years, and then we can write a recommendation to make sure that foundation is going to come out, effectively, and we can help them build that system as well. So post-grout activities are not just confined to the new project and new installation. It's actually, hey, what was installed 20, 30 years ago? What kind of reliability issues are you seeing?
Right.
Are we having to re-horsepower something, take something out, put it back in? We specialize in that as well. So especially benefiting with FasTrac and cement-based products coming in with a fast-curing, high-early concrete we can put epoxy on in 24, 36, 48 hours. Really helps the end user move the needle, right? So they need something. For example, a reciprocating compressor, they got to take it out, do some frame rework. Okay, well, we can tear out the whole foundation, rebuild it back with some of y'all's products, and go in there and have it grouted in. Right. Very fast. So it's not just, again, not just new installation post-grout activities. It's the function of these petrochemical and refining facilities that we assist.
Yeah, we us here at FasTrac, we call that our system approach. Yes. Right? And trying to make it a full system. Reliability starts at the ground. Yep. And from the ground up, right? So if you don't have a good foundation, like the old saying, if the house doesn't have good bones, it's not going to be there, right?
That's right.
So you got to have a good foundation. Make sure you're truly set there. And Max came in yesterday from Dig.
Oh yeah.
And was talking about some of the size that they're seeing on the pull downs, yep. Right? Are we doing precast anchor bolts? Or are we gonna grout them in, right? Are we gonna epoxy them in? And so, and everything has its pros and cons. So if it's a greenfield or brownfield, we're all going to have to put our heads together and find out what is that best solution for that customer.
That's exactly right. And to build off the system approach, I always say, you got to have a good story to tell as well, right?
Right.
So when you come in, like a company like Dig has a very good story to tell with their company. We try to have, Spitzer, we got a very good story to tell, and the FasTrac product line has a good story to tell, right? You can start at the pilings and work your way up.
Right.
It's a very unique system approach, and we really appreciate having access to that. And then from our perspective, our story is long. We like the reliability, overall reliability. We're looking at 30, 40 years of running a piece of equipment, right? We don't go in and just we got to get this done, let's move on. We're looking at it as a full system. We need to make sure the foundation's quality, concrete, we're meeting compressive strength, we're not seeing any kind of premature cracking, anchor bolt isolation, anchor bolt installation. You start to get into the weeds of these very small, minute details that are overpassed in the industry. And when you start taking that kind of approach to detail, then the end user is going to have that 30-year run out, and that's what everybody's trying to achieve, right?
Right.
I only want to do a piece of rotating equipment one time,
That's it.
Yeah, unless I'm here for another 30 years, which
we only get one shot to do it right.
Exactly right. I don't want to do something twice.
Yeah.
Re-horsepowering, it's a different story. If they want to come back, take it out, and put something bigger in, I'm right there with you, brother. But other than that, when we do something, we want to do it right and make sure they get that 30 years out of it, minimum.
I always chuckled my previous life, and they say, oh, don't worry, this only is going to be in operation for 5 years. I knew immediately those are the ones that are in operations for 30, 35 years. Because the commercial team's already working to figure out the next contract. If it's a pipeline or facility, are we re-rating, are we deep, bottlenecking it, whatever it may be, there's somebody on the commercial side of the business that's trying to figure out how to maximize those assets.
Yes.
We never see in the oil and gas sector that these assets just come out and, we're done with it, we're just going to throw it away. No, let's go figure out how do we tie in, we build something else, and we go service another entity. I mean, spending some time taking NGL lines to turn them into crude lines, or vice versa.
Exactly.
And it's
to add to that point, they're not exactly running things at 80-90%. They're running at 110%. So they're running the capacity on curve as much as they can. Right. So we're just going to run this asset for a while. We'll move back to Arkansas, right, or something along those lines. But the reality is that thing ends up there, like you're saying, for a long time, and they're running it hard.
Yeah.
So it's that system approach, like you're saying. You really have to look at what they're trying to do, ask the pertinent questions of the customer, and a lot of times just helping them navigate and either increase or lower their expectations in some ways too.
Sure. Yeah, and that's that West Texas, New Mexico area. I love it when they're like, we got this caliche foundation prep we're going to go with. And I'm like, that's great until it rains.
Yep.
So what does the soil stabilization look like? What does your harmonics look like through that equipment, right? So, but hey, really appreciate you coming by. Yep. Please, how can everyone? Oh, we got a question. Yes, sir.
quick question. Why did Bill Spitzer choose FasTrac?
So that's a very good question. So with all of our manufacturing partners, what we look for is quality, right? So what you'll learn with other manufacturers when you visit them, most of them don't actually build. Might have quality issues. So you see that in the field when you're executing. With the FasTrac line, as with our other manufacturers we represent, they build their product. They take quality control very seriously. And they're very agile. If you need, for example, with some of their cement products, we're looking at a large mega project, and they wanted to match some of their older concrete that's in the older part of the facility. Well, they're like, we'll just put color packs in it. Let's get a good color, and let's see what we can do to adjust, right? So they're very agile, very responsive, and with the amount of support that we offer through our business, it's good to have a partner like FasTrac because they offer the same support. Scott and I actually go on a lot of projects together and work hand in hand with stuff that we work with their company.
Good deal.
Okay, there you go. We
Awesome.
appreciate the question.
Well, David, how can people get a hold of you and the rest of the Bill Spitzer team?
Yeah, I mean, just reach out to our website. You can take a look there. I mean, again, we're across the nation. Look us up on our website. We depending upon your general regional area, we have representation all over the place. If you're looking for something specific, just let us know. Again, we're not just a civil company. That's a big, huge portion of our business. But we're also an automated lubrication and reliability company as well. So take a look at both sides of it.
Good deal, man. Well, hey, appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, brother.
All right, man.